we are going to go ahead and get started. Thank you to everyone for coming and participating. This is Get More from Your WordPress Site, how to install a plugin that gets you the most popular real estate content and lead gen tools on your site. My name is Erin Gilbert, and I am joined today by three great panelists. So I'd like to start by introducing them to you. First, we have Seth Siegler. Seth is the founder of Hoverboard Labs. Seth, if you can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Erin. I've been a software engineer and a startup founder and a CTO, sort of in a lot of different technical roles in the real estate space for a really long time. And even before all that, I was actually an agent and a broker myself. All of my client work and personal startups and things like that have been in the real estate space. So I know pretty well, and I like it.
Awesome. Well, it's great to have you here. We are also joined by Dean Sukaris. Dean, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thanks, Erin, and hi, everybody. My name is Dean Sukaris. I've been in the technology space for about 20 years now, specifically in real estate technology for about the past 5 years, and with Onboard for almost 9 months now. Really having a lot of fun here working with the team and building these new products like we're going to be showing you today.
Great to have you. So just so everyone on the phone knows, Seth is going to be showing us how to install the plugin, and Dean's going to be telling us a little bit about Nav2 because he created it. We're also joined by Kevin Mattice, who is our Senior Product Manager at Onboard. Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Erin. Thanks, and hi to everyone else. It's good to be here, and I'm going to be talking a little bit about the API that the Nav2 plugin is built off of and all the data you can pull from it.
Awesome. Sounds good. All right. Well, that's our panel. Thank you all for joining us. This webinar is brought to you by Onboard Informatics. While you may not know who we are, you probably know some of our clients. We've been in the real estate technology industry for 15 years, and we provide property and local content across the country. And our clients use that data to build some really innovative and interesting things. And that data is what supports what we're going to be talking today about, which is Neighborhood Navigator. A few years ago, Onboard introduced Neighborhood Navigator. It became quickly our signature product, and in the last few months, we've really upgraded it, and so we now call this Neighborhood Navigator 2.0. And so this is what you now have the ability to plug into your site, and that's what we're going to be discussing today.
So we'll get started, and once again, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. The whole idea behind building Nav 2.0 or Neighborhood Navigator was essentially to create something that could be easily and quickly added to your existing brokerage website. Or if you're a brokerage team, you might have your own independent website as well. It's meant to go onto the property page and basically give a lot more of a robust and engaging experience that a user might have when they're viewing a property. So a lot of times from the MLS, you'll get a lot of the house data, such as bedrooms, baths, but you're missing a lot of the neighborhood data, a lot of the information about the community around the property, and that's where we come in. We built Neighborhood Navigator in order to address those issues. Essentially, as a brokerage owner or manager, or even as a marketer, you're spending a lot of time, money, and effort driving that really valuable traffic to your website, and the last thing you want anybody to do is have to go off of your website in order to find information. So Onboard has been around for over 15 years now. Obviously very, very familiar with real estate data, one of the premier places for real estate data in the nation. So we've worked with some of the largest brokerages. We have a really good sense on what the individual buyer/seller is looking to look at, so what kind of information they're looking for. And so we've taken all that experience in order to kind of create Nav2, this really engaging experience, because once somebody comes onto the site, they find the information they're looking for, and they're engrossed in the different types of information we have. So Nav 2.0 is encompassed by these three bars here. So we have the first one, comprehensive community report, that we call the Nav bar. Then we have the second one where you see the headline detailed property report, and that's the nurture bar. And recently we added a third bar that we call the lead bar. We created the lead bar because a lot of people were looking for something a little bit more, let's say, direct. So we have people that visit your website that want to get in touch with you right away, and we wanted to make that very simple, easy, seamless as possible. So we'll go through all three, but I'll go through the nav bar first. Currently, these are all available as widgets. So this is just a code snippet that you can add onto your website. But given that about over 50% of the internet right now is built on WordPress sites, it was very important for us to develop these as WordPress plugins as well. So currently we have the nav bar here. So when I click on this tab, this community and demographics tab, it'll give you a quick community overview and some facts on the property. So this is actually reading the information off of the property page. So it actually reads the address of the property that it's located on in order to give you some information on the neighborhood and the community. So you'll see here things like population, average commute time, median income, closest airport, really things that people would really want to know if they're looking at a property and wondering, is this the right area for me? So some more demographics as far as household size, children, turnover, something very important to somebody if they want to live in more of a ownership community rather than rentals, more population demographics. And I just want to point out here that the URL that I'm on right now, onboard.rocks/demo, is available. It's public. If anybody wanted to come on at any time in order to kind of play around with NAV 2.0, it's open to the public for you to take a look at. And we're open to answer any questions that you might have after experiencing it. So you'll also see here, we do an age range, so you can get an idea on the age of the community, weather, as well as education overview. So this will give you the education climate. And this one is a 4 out of 5, which is pretty good. Highest level attained in the community. So it breaks it down by population percentage from no high school all the way to graduate degrees. Employment and finance percentage, that is blue collar and white collar. So you can see here just a lot of information giving you a really in-depth view of what the community is like that this property is located in. So that's just the first tab in this nav bar. So I'm really excited about this second tab, which is the school system, because our research has shown that it's probably the number one, at the very least number 2 thing that people look at when purchasing a home. So one of the cool things about the nav bar is it'll actually tell you not only what schools are in the area, but exactly what school your child would go to if you live in this property. So we have all the boundary information for school districts, and if your home is located in that boundary, that's where your child would go. So we have the middle school, the elementary school, and the high school. And a couple of recent additions are the private school and Catholic schools. So if there's a private or Catholic school in the area, now there's no boundary here, but we take a geography radius. So within the 10 miles, we'll show all the schools that your child could attend. I'm just going to walk through real quick with this. So this is a high school for this particular area, this particular property. This is the high school that your child would go to. We have the school district information. We have a school profile, what percentage of students are college bound, special education, vocational, how much money is spent per child, what's their technology measure. So these are things as a parent I'd be interested in. I no longer have to go to the school website. I don't have to do any research off of your website. So I don't have to leave this page to get all this detailed information. Number of students per grade, number of staff versus number of students, all the way down to the really granular curriculum that this school offers. So if there's something in particular that you or your child are interested in as far as the subject, you can see that all here. And if you do opt for the nurture bar at the end of every report, we also make it very easy for them just to sign up and say, I want more information here. The last 2 are the amenities and the businesses surrounding the property. So let's just say, for example, we have different categories. They would just pop out, and as you can see by the surrounding geography, this is out from the property itself. So here's another example, eating and drinking establishments around the property. So this will give you an idea of the community that you'll be moving into. And then the last tab we have is the home sales and trends. And it goes into the sales activity mostly of the community. So you'll see how many properties are being sold, number of transactions, home sale price trends, home sales summary by quarterly.
Dean, while you're showing this, we have a couple questions that maybe you or Kevin can field. The first is, how are we defining a neighborhood to pull this community and demographic information from? Is it at the zip code level or a radius around the property?
Yeah, so depending on what what tab we're looking at and in what context. So you can see here, as far as the home sales and trends, it's mostly going by zip code, as opposed to, like I had mentioned before, with the school system, it'll actually go by the school system, the school district boundary. With the amenities, that's by geography, that's by what's how far away something is from the property. And in the demographics, it's also mostly zip code level as well. I'll just introduce you here to the nurture bar as well. So this is meant to be used in tandem. So once somebody has come into the NAV experience, the community experience, they like this property, they want to get more detailed information, so they come to what we call the nurture bar. And on this nurture bar, it pre-populates with the address of the property page. Your user can then enter in their email address, and then they click this get free report. Now three things happen when somebody enters in their email and says, you know what, I like this property, I want to get more information. So the first thing is, when they hit get your free report, they are emailed a report directly to them. That email shows that it's coming from you, the agent or broker. So it is branded for you. And then the other two things that happen is they are automatically added to an ongoing email drip campaign. So every 2 weeks, they would then get a branded email, branded for you, with local community information around this property. And the third thing that happens is you, as the agent or broker, immediately get an email saying, this person, you know, you're given their email address, has just requested a report on this property. So as the agent, we would expect you right now to reach out to them and say, hey, we just noticed you requested a report on this property. What else can I do for you? So it's really a powerful tool, an engagement tool. So we look at it as the nav bar is engaging, the nurture bar is converting. So that's the nav bar, the nurture bar, and the third bar right now is the lead bar. And like I mentioned earlier, we've had requests from different agents, brokers, brokerages for something that can basically let somebody get in touch with them right away. So you don't have to go through a whole contact form. You don't have to enter in much information, just really quick and seamless. You might have seen these out in the industry. They're starting to get very popular. So as a user, I visit your website. If I want you to call me right away, or I want an email, or I want a text, I would just enter in my phone number here, and then right away I hit text me. So what happens, you as the agent or broker of record on this lead bar will immediately get an email saying somebody has made a request on your lead bar, and then it would say the method that they chose, so either a phone call, an email, or a text, and then giving you their information. So at that point, you know right away, this is somebody who's very interested and wants to talk to somebody right away. So we have the engagement, we have the nurture, and we have the lead bar. All of them are meant to be used in unison. All of them are currently widgets and available. This is our first foray into the WordPress plugins. So right now the nav bar is available on WordPress, and Seth is going to go into more detail on how you're going to do the installation on something like that. At this point, I'm going to pass it on to Kevin, who is very familiar with the back end of Onboard and the APIs that feed into all of our turnkey products, and he can walk you through a little bit of that.
This is really just a quick plug for the API, if you will. Everything that Dean's been showing you on the nav bar is data that's coming through from our APIs. So if you really like what you see on the nav bar, but for whatever reason, maybe you want to do some more customization, or maybe you want to be able to pull in some different data fields, the API is going to give you access to all of the same information. If you're interested, developer.onboard/apis.com is where you can go check it out, get a free trial API key, and start testing. We do break up our data into 4 sections, and all 4 of these different data types are being used on the nav bar. As far as the property goes, obviously it's details about the property, but we're also pulling in school data and things like that that Dean highlighted when going through the nav bar school tab. The area data is all of our different boundaries, so everything from neighborhoods to zip codes to counties to school attendance zones can be found there. And then for points of interest, that's all the data actually populating the amenities tab. 14 different business categories available there. And our community demographics information is where you'd see a lot of those income statistics, crime and weather risks, et cetera. So really just want to make sure that if for whatever reason nav2 isn't exactly what you're looking for, you've got access to all of that data via our API, and would be happy to have you go test it. But I think with that, it's time to pass it over to Steph so that he can give us a quick demo of what implementing the WordPress plugin would look like.
Cool. All right. So what I'm going to do is show you how to install the widget and get it activated here on my fake website. Assuming you've got yourself a WordPress website, what we're going to do here for this demo is run through the process of finding out where the plugin is, how to get it installed, how to get it activated, and then we'll set up kind of like a sample featured property page that will allow you to display a nav bar that'll populate the information for whatever your featured property is on that page. There's a lot of different other ways to use it on your site, but we'll just use this one for the time being. So all WordPress sites look a little bit different on the back end, depending on your theme, where you got your site, if it's hosted by some third-party company, what version of WordPress you're looking for. But more or less, everybody's got on the nav section here on the left side of your WordPress dashboard. And what we're going to be looking for is the plugin section. And then we're going to select the add new option. It's going to take us to the WordPress plugin repository, where there's like millions of different plugins that you can get. And we're going to look here for the onboard. I'm going to type onboard nav. And there we go, onboard nav. We can select it and see all of the information about it, but we're just going to cut to the chase and go to install now. You'll see over here that it's installed. We can activate it here, but actually I'm just going to kind of walk you through really the proper way of doing this. And go to the install plugin section, and this would be all of the plugins that you have installed on your site. Below each of them is the option to activate it, delete it, edit, which is usually not too useful, but we're going to choose activate here. It's going to go ahead and activate it. Now, if I look back over here on my left hand main nav, I can see that there's a new option called onboard nav. I'm going to press that. And I'm going to here sort of clear all this stuff out to make it kind of the same way that it'll look when you first get it. And we're going to populate all this stuff here for the purposes of this demo. So here's what you do. The first thing is that we need to get a widget script. This is the part where you need to contact Onboard at sales@onboardinformatics.com and tell them that you've downloaded the widget and you need to get a widget script, which includes your special widget key, any sort of customizations that you are going to have on your nav bar as far as colors and things like that go. And somebody on the friendly Onboard sales team will set up your billing plan, so on and so forth, and in a very short amount of time, send you a script which will look something like this. And then you just paste that in here. Now, at this point, what we can see here is that there's this shortcode generator that populates based on whatever the address is that I'm putting in this area. So the nav bar itself displays information about a particular address. So we need to tell it which address we want it to display information about. In this case, since we're building a featured property page with it, I'm going to put in this information because this is going to be my featured property. I'm going to save it, and it's going to update this little shortcode here for me. Looks good. I'm going to copy that. And now let's go ahead and create our featured property page real quick. I'm not going to get too fancy with this at all, but let's call the page the address that we made this for. Check out our newest and nicest listing. Here's where I'm going to put, like any imagery and all of the other stuff about my my new awesome listing that I've got. And then that, if you notice, is in the visual tab here on your text editor inside the page creator. This is probably one of the more important things when you're working with shortcodes or any sort of code that you're going to be pasting into your page in WordPress. That always gets pasted in the section that says text, right? See these two tabs here? This is critical. If you paste it in here in the visual section, and this goes with this goes for any WordPress plugin or any piece of code that you're pasting into a WordPress page. If you paste it in here and press publish, you're only going to see the code itself. It's not going to render. So you've got to switch over to text and paste in your short code here that was generated when we set up the widget. And then I'm going to click publish. Oh, here's actually another thing to sort of know about the nav bar. It's set up to be, pretty wide. It is responsive, of course, but it looks best on a full page or full width page template. Most WordPress themes have that option. They have different page templates, whether it be a contact form, left side, right side nav, or full width. Most of them have a full width, so I'm going to select that, update the page, and let's see what we got. We'll go check out my page here, 3535 Front Street. I would have all of my, artistic content here, my, photos and stuff like that. But most importantly, down here, I've got the nav bar, which is now appearing and displaying information about 3535 Front Street. It's got all of the cool stuff that that Dean ran through earlier, and it's all here. Now, there's a few other things that you can do if you have, a custom IDX search or something like that. You can have your developer implement this and put it on the listing detail pages, so it will dynamically, display information for whatever the address of the property is that you're looking at. Long story short, that's how to do it. It works just like any other WordPress widget. The installation process is pretty straightforward. It works as, works with short codes. And now here's actually another thing. Let's say we wanted to actually display a different property here. We can actually, instead of going all the way back to our shortcode editor, we can actually just edit the address right here. And let's say instead of 3535, let's do 3555 Front Street, and then update. So just to sort of clarify that you can use it for multiple properties on the same page. You don't need to have, different subscriptions for each property or something like that. Now this one is displaying the information for that particular property, which is a little bit different. That I think covers it, really. There's a lot of different things that you can do with it, if you sort of think creatively about it. Different places you can put it on your site. At the end of the day, we tried to make it as easy as possible to actually install. And of course, if you have any trouble with it, you can always reach out and we'll set you guys up and going in the right direction.
So that is the plugin for the nav bar, which is the first bar that Dean explained. And then eventually we'll have plugins for the other two bars, correct?
Yep, that's right. Actually, yep, those are out there as well. One of them is just getting approved by the WordPress review team, but they'll install exactly the same way as this one. The process will be exactly the same for all three widgets. It's important to note. All three plugins work the same exact way.
Very nice. So good flexibility, especially for those of you that were really just interested in generating more leads, or maybe you're just more interested in the nurture part, or maybe you just do want the nav bar. You have the options to kind of mix and match and get what you really need. As a reminder, you do get a special discount for the Nav2 product for participating today, so we will send you more details on that along with an entire recording of this demonstration. So the information to reach out to us if you do have more questions is now on your screen, and if you need anything else, please don't hesitate to use that email or phone number to contact us. Thank you all from all of us for participating today. We're very excited about our first WordPress plugin, and we will talk to you all soon. Thanks, everyone.